How important was it for you, as you were a woman trying to break into the business, to network with other women? And how did you deal with being a woman? Because you were in the old boys club of radio promotion. Are you kidding me? Strip clubs, bars, cocaine in an envelope. Talk about that.
Well, first of all...
Not the cocaine in the envelope, folks, okay?
We'll leave the strip clubs out.
Good morning, folks. It's Wednesday, July 9th. Welcome to RenmanMusicandBusiness.com. My name is Steve Rennie. I am the Renman, and this little program is called Renman Live. Hey, if you're looking to do something big in the music business, folks, and you need a little help, you are in the right place today. We've been having a conversation for the last 2 years about today's music business, not that bullshit fairy tale version where songs just flow. We're talking about the real music business. And we're doing it with some of the smartest, most talented, most influential people in the music business. And today will be no exception. Today we're going to be joined by one of the top radio promotion execs in the whole of the music business. Her name is Jacqueline Saturn. And she's going to take us behind the wizard's curtain of the music, of the radio business, and explain how you can get that great song you wrote on the radio. But before we do that, I want to take a moment to say hello to my wonderfully talented and Spartan Renman Live crew here today. Over in the corner on the controls, say hello there, give a little wave, is Cody Trojan Man Romness. We just call him Trojan Man. Okay. Oh, there you go. So, okay, we're waiting to hear from the Trojan folks, not the football team. Also, to his right, the handsome and talented, he's the pride of Houston, Texas. His name is Mr. James. I'm always early. Give it up for James. Nice dreads. I'm so freaking jealous of you, James. God, okay. Our other ace intern, Cody, a.k.a. Code Red Cohen, is somewhere down in Brazil, burying his head in a pint of beer, I'm sure, over the loss by the U.S. And then the local favorites, Brazil, who got whacked by Germany. Anyway, Cody, if you're watching, we miss you madly, buddy. Get the heck back up here. I also want to take a moment. I love the internet because you don't even have to be in the building anymore to play a part. I want to thank our virtual intern, Mr. Joseph Pepe, who's a musician himself, for helping out. He posts all kinds of stuff on our social media. He's the guy responsible for going out and scouring the web for all those music business stories. So, Joseph, if you're out there watching, I want to say thank you so much for all your help. For you folks that are just joining us for the first time, we've got quite a few new members here over the last few weeks. I want to give you a little tour of the facilities here. We started this website called RenmanMusicandBusiness.com about 2 years ago. We started it with this simple idea that I wanted to kind of help some folks out that are just trying to get started. So we started with 24 videos that were big picture in the Ren 101s. Big picture was thoughts about how to get your head in the right place to do something great. The Ren 101s were more thoughts about the nuts and bolts, who does what, why, and hopefully they are doing all that stuff. That little idea took a big left turn when we decided to start doing some webcasts with some of my friends in the business, those smart, talented people that I refer to. So over the course of the last year and a half, we've done almost 90 shows with some of the smart folks around. If you'd like to check out our guest list, you could just click on that guest list button. It'll take you right to a little bio. You click the link and it'll hook you up with all the content from each of those guests. Good stuff. If you're looking to network and you can't make it to LA, this will be about the next best thing to sitting on the couch with our guest here today. That'll be my job, however. Everybody bitches about they can't find a manager, they don't know who to talk to about the business. Well, you know what? Stop your bitching. Click on the Ask Renman tab, and you can ask me just about anything, and I will answer your questions. We may even answer one today with my guest. It might just be Ask the Jacq woman today. Anyway, that's the Ask Renman. We only ask one thing. You got to register, folks, back to IVGA, on our site to be a part of it, to ask questions. So fill out the little blanks here, and we will get you involved here in a big way. All right. you know, we got a saying around here, folks. We started this saying in the hopes that people would actually learn about the music business, and I learned something a long time ago. If you got to ask questions to learn about anything. So we got a saying around here at the camp. If you haven't seen it before, I'm going to lay it on you right now. You don't ask, you don't get, you don't learn anything. So don't be shy. If you're looking to do something in the music business, drop that shy act at the door. Try to get in the front row and ask some questions, and you will learn. Let me tell you how you can do that, folks. Number one, for all you advanced planners, you go to our website, click on the event page. There's the lovely Jacqueline Saturn. You can post your question right there, and we will answer it in the show today, and we're going to prove that conclusively. For all you bold folks that really want to sit in the front row, we can do this old school. We got a hotline. It's 310-469-9067. Don't be shy. Join us by calling in on the phone, and you can win one of these fine Renman MB t-shirts. Fuck the gatekeepers, right? Now you may wonder who that handsome devil is. That was me when I was 22 and I was just dreaming. This is what the face of doing looks like. I know it's tough, but that's what we're going to talk about here today. We also, for you folks that are a little bit more highbrow, we have the Dream It, Do It shirt for you artistes out there today.
Oh, that's very nice.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Like that voice you hear over the background, we're going to talk to in just a second. Okay, so that's how you ask questions. A couple folks have asked us, what have you been doing, over the last few months? The last Renman live show we did was from Nashville, Tennessee with my friend Mr. Paul Tillett, the founder of the beloved Coachella Festival. Well, we took a little break to organize all 90 of those Renman live shows. This really started as a hobby and is turning into something much different. So we tried to take a little break and organize our content and all the stuff we never did the first time around. And somewhere along the way, I decided that maybe what we needed to do was take a little bit more academic approach to this music mentoring. So we decided to do 12 segments of Renman U, which is my insider's guide to today's music business. You can check it out on the website on our YouTube channel. With the help of my good friend over in the corner, Mr. Cody Ramnes, he's trying to help me pull this together into an interactive online course that we are going to offer for all these folks that are really looking to learn. Okay, so that's about it. But it's funny, when we took that little break, we did all these things on the side, and all it did was remind me that what I really, really, really love doing the most is this little web show, because I get a chance to talk with some of my friends in the business about this business that I really love. So I want to just say how happy I am to be back here again today. Now, without further ado, let me talk about our guest today. There's no question that technology and streaming services and mobile services and all the changes that have gone on in the music business have really shaped the landscape of today's music business. But when it comes to turning a song into a hit, there's some things that still haven't changed. Getting airplay is the most important way and one of the most effective ways to build your brand and to make your song stand out from the crowd. Joining us today is a radio expert, Jacqueline Saturn. Jacqueline is a 20-year veteran, hard to believe, of the music business. She was the senior VP of rock and pop for Epic Records for the better part of 20 years. She ran records like Rage Against the Machine, Pearl Jam, Modest Mouse, Celine Dion, too many to count off here today. She's a real pro. Today, she's the co-general manager of Harvest Records right here in the heart of Hollywood. I've had the good fortune to work side by side with Jacq as her colleague at Epic Records and for the last 14, 15 years as the manager of Incubus. She may look like a little pussycat, but I guarantee you she's got a lot of mad dog in her, and I'm happy to have her today with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome the Queen of Rock, Miss Jacqueline Saturn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another round of applause.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Okay, Jacq.
Well, first of all, I want to clear up. I wasn't just your colleague. You were my boss at Epic.
I never looked at that. By the way,
let's start that.
Yeah. I always felt like you were the boss.
Well,
Jacq.
I tried to be, but you were the boss. So I'm really happy to be here. I learned a lot from you in that part of our relationship. And then obviously in the relationship of you being the manager of Incubus and Incubus being one of the most important bands at Epic Records, we went into that relationship. So there's two different, that solidified our lifelong relationship.
Yeah, that was kind of like being married to you. That was your wacky second husband there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was like when you really, partners in crime.
Yes. We've had some great moments that we can talk about that today because it's all part of trying to do something great in the music business. We talked a little bit earlier as we were sitting out here early. We had all kinds of great folks on the show. And we had one of them was a lady by the name of Jody Gerson who runs Sony ATV Publishing. I've asked everybody on the show the same question, because the one thing I get asked all the time is how'd you get started in the business? And what I've observed over the years, there is as many great stories of getting started in the business as there are people. So I'd like you to tell the folks, how did Jacqueline Saturn get started in this wacky music business?
Well, I think that most of the people that tell the story are the same, of like, you love music so much and you decide that you want to make that your career, and how do you do it? For me, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, so a lot of the music industry, people thought that it was country, but it was really like all music, going to shows, you know, using your fake ID to get into Exit In, seeing every band on the planet, and, you know, deciding to go to college and then figuring out how to make that the career after. What I decided to do is, I didn't want to go back to Nashville to get in the music industry. I wanted to go to New York, because I kept thinking Nashville's, you know, the opportunities that were being presented were more country, and I really liked rock and roll. So I went to New York, and I really had no contacts, and I did the first thing that I thought, which was look at in the ads, but I looked at the new school, because people kept saying, oh, the new school, they have these classes and you can learn things. And they had
the new school NYU?
The new school wasn't NYU. It was a different college, and they had a course called The Business of Music. And literally it was kind of like this, like where they brought different people in to teach you about the business. And that's where I started. There was a girl who did promotion. There was somebody who came to spoke who was a business manager. There was a lawyer, and I tried to study it. And that's when I just started, you know, cold emailing people and trying to get in. What happened was, somehow there was a friend of a friend who knew of someone who was looking for a receptionist at a record label. And I was like, I'm the person for the job. I didn't care what it was. I just had to get in. And, you know, they interviewed a lot of people. It was a coveted slot. And I did, you know, what I knew how to do. It was like, I'm your person. Don't interview anyone else. But I have to know today, which is like, I don't even know why I said that, but I did. And then I started in the music business.
I think it's funny that you should say, I have to start today, because that sense of immediacy is something that comes in very handy when you have to go back to the label meeting every Tuesday and report in. I thought it was interesting, Jacq, that you actually took a music business course. 'Cause I think one of the reasons I started this is because there's been this proliferation of music business colleges, and I always viewed them with a little bit of suspicion, because so much about the music business is local knowledge, not things that you can read in a book. And has that been your experience? Did they ask you if you had a degree in the music business when you got that receptionist gig?
No, they certainly didn't. They wanted to know that you love music, and that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Like, do you love music? How hard will you work? And if you're committed to, you know, opening the door at 7:30 in the morning and being the last to leave, one of the things that I did at my first record label was I worked at Savage Records, and there was a lot of documents, and they always needed to find a notary public. Well, I became a notary public. I just went down and figured out how to do it. And that is something, you know, look, I'm proud of myself for being a go-getter, but I'm sure many of you out there are the same way. It's just figuring out how to get you to that next step.
Yeah, but you said something that almost every one of our guests has said. A, they had the love for music, and B, they were prepared to do anything to get started, right? So forget your resume, you know. Our AC intern over here, Cody Ramos, I met him at a couple of events, didn't even know who he was, met him through the website again. The first thing he did when I said, okay, you can come and be an intern, is he cleaned up our bathroom, which had become a warehouse for stuff, Rennie.
Cleanest bathroom you've ever had.
It is the cleanest bathroom we've ever. By the way, I was in there cleaning it up today. We always get a little hypersensitive when we have a proper woman in the place here with us, you know. But he came in and cleaned up, and that's how he got started, you know. So I think it's a great lesson. You mentioned something here that I think is again something that's just an important skill to have, and it's this idea of network. You said you came out here, didn't have any context, and you started cold calling people. Talk about how important networking has been as you have developed a wonderful career in the music business.
I think that every single person you meet, it's important to know that whether you like them or not like them, that they might come back around. There might be a situation where you're reunited with them. And I think that one of the things, I mean, for me personally, I grew up in the South, and I was really taught that, you know, you have great manners and you call people back and you write thank you notes and you do things that are, you know, have stayed with me the entire part of my career. But any person that you meet might be a gateway to somebody else. So the nicer you are, the more helpful people can be.
I think that is just wonderful advice. I can't remember who, but one of my folks that I had talked to over the years, it said something along those lines. He goes, Rennie, I tell you an important lesson in the business world. Act like you're coming back, okay? If you act like you're not coming back, you're Saddam Hussein lighting the oil wells as you leave town. But if you're going to work in the music business, even for some of those folks that you may not like, you'll see them again, and they might actually have some value to you, right?
Yes, yes.
So you kind of suck it up and go, I'm not going to make a judgment on personality. I'm going to
it's a business. It's not necessarily friendship. It's a business.
It's a business. We, as I mentioned, you were talking with Jody Gerson today, earlier before the show, and I was stoked to have her on the show because we have about 65% mix of men to women viewers on our show, but I've met a lot of great new young women that are looking to get in the business, right? And I was thinking the other day about this whole notion of how when I met you at Epic Records, when I think back on it, was chock full of lit up women. So for me, what could be a quintessential old boy, I have been surrounded by powerful, loud, opinionated women, my wife included, my whole time. How important was it for you, as you were a woman trying to break into the business, to network with other women? And how did you deal with being a woman? Because you were in the old boys club of radio promotion. Are you kidding me? Strip clubs, bars, cocaine in an envelope. Talk about that.
Well, first of all,
not the cocaine in the envelope, folks. Okay.
We'll leave the strip clubs out. Although in Canada, they're fully no clothes.
Yeah.
All right. So, as a woman, of course, it was amazing. Some of the people that we, were inspired by, like for myself, Polly Anthony, who, recently passed away, who was just the most unbelievable power woman that, I remember her walking by me when I was an assistant and just the clicking of her heels and all eyes turned on her, and she always looked fabulous, and she would work her ass off and go out at night with the guys and get there early in the morning. And I remember just being like, how did she do that? How does she always look perfect? How is everything going so right? And then another woman who, I still look up to every day and get to work with now, Michelle Anthony, who's, one of the most powerful women in the music business and always had, great advice and an open line of communication. And, those are the first two that I really got to see. But as I continue to grow in the business, it was important for me to meet people that were my peers, who we might have done promotion together, myself, Christine Chiappetta, Lisa Warden at K-Rock, Margie Weatherly, where we all sort of became a band together of girls that were growing up, and maybe girls that wanted to, in the future, maybe meet a husband, maybe have kids, maybe have that life too, and, start finding people where we could be supported in that decision.
Yeah. You mentioned it's an interesting comment you made about it because, for you folks that don't know, Jacq, you have two kids, right? Two daughters?
Oh, yeah.
Two the queens in waiting of rock here. How do you mentioned Michelle and Polly, who were total powerhouses. When you talk about the clicking heels, I just thought I was the only, that Polly had this.
Dude.
If she was a rock star, she would have had swagger about her. She just oozed power, but she was like, Frank Sinatra would have called her a great broad because she could hang with the freaking boys and make you feel weak and powerless, right? But she gave a lot up on the personal. She never got married. She never had a family. She never had kids. Ditto for Michelle Anthony, wonderfully talented person who was the conscience of Sony Music, working with Donnie Ienner. God, if you're watching Donnie, and Tommy Mottola, holy shit, that should have been double pay. How do you balance being a mom, because I know you're a great mom, and the pressure in the trauma and anxiety of working in the record business?
Well, one of the things I do like to say, being a mom was a choice, and it was a choice I made because I wanted to be a mom. And people make their own choices. Maybe they didn't. That wasn't their path. But there were so many. When I was in the situation, I didn't really have anyone to look up to. I was the one who was sort of like, okay, I'm going to have to do this because I'm going to have to show other people that you can do this. And that was really kind of how it was, because I was the one with all those single women when, I had to say, I'm going to have a baby. And I think that I just knew that I was going to continue to do my job, work hard, try not to draw too much attention to it because you really couldn't at that time. You didn't want to really acknowledge it. and then be the best that you could be. And I remember there was a guy who said to me, you're not going to be the same when you come back. You won't be at the same level. You'll be maybe at like 70%. And I always remember somebody saying that to me, because not only did I come back after that first baby, I got promoted to senior vice president at Epic Records of promotion, and I was so proud of that. Thank you. But I remember, like, you are in a different bracket. Like, it's not equal in some of those ways. Yeah. And I was so happy that somebody said that, because I was always determined, but it made me think about what women have to go through.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because, I think, it's been my experience, I won't mention, that from time to time I've seen some young women that are starting the business that spend too much time talking about that they're a woman in the business. I never heard that from Jody Gerson. No. Never heard Michelle woo about being a woman, or you bitch about being a woman. Never, ever heard it, ever. So for all you ladies are out there that are thinking about it and want some special compensation for being a woman, I say skip it. This business is tough out there no matter who you are. And take note from Jacqueline Saturn and Michelle Anthony and the Pollys of the world. They don't spend any time. You mix it right up. And like I say, for me, I never thought, Jackie's a woman, I got to roll over her. It's actually, I thought it was a disadvantage. I wanted to be more respectful, and I wanted just to be, wow, Jackie ripped my head off. Okay, anyway.
But you did, but listen, I always think that the thing about life is you're going to make the choices that are great for you, and you're going to go for it. And that's what I did. I mean, I look at Jody same way. Somebody that I really look up to and respect and adore, and she's a badass executive. You do not want to mess with her. And there are, you find your people that you make your alliance with.
She was great too. She said she had no desire to go out there and butt in on Marty's golf games and all that stuff. And, which was good. She has a wonderful perspective. I enjoyed it. Okay, well, one of the things we like to do here, Jacq, is this is kind of a networking exercise. When I started in the business and looking for mentors and trying to network, you had to kind of get in their office. Today we can do it on the web. So we've invited some of our members into the act here. And I think, do we have her on the line there, Code?
We do. We're going to play a video.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little setup here first. We're first going to do a Skype call with a young singer from Montreal, Canada, who, again, I met through the website, right? She was actually in town, 3-4 months ago, 5 months ago, Cody, she calls up out of the blue, says, hey, do you mind if I stop by? And I think Cody told her, yeah, as long as you get here before Rennie takes off to the golf course. So we met and talked with her. She's a wonderfully talented person. She also is a big-time supporter of the site. She donated some money during an Indiegogo campaign to play a video, which we haven't done yet, dirtbags that we are. So we're going to play that video, and then we're going to talk to NJ Taylor from Montreal, Canada, who's got a question for you about hiring independent promoters. Take it away, Cody. All right, that's great stuff. We have NJ Taylor, through the modern miracle of technology, squeezed right into the couch here. How you doing today, NJ?
Say that again.
How are you doing, NJ? Can you hear me?
Yourself, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're breaking up just a hair. Anyway, cool little video there. We were just commenting on how artists today can do such wonderful, work on videos for virtually no money, when we used to piss away, hundreds of thousands, Jackie?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good lyric video, considering like what we used to see and how much we spent on them.
I'll bet you she didn't spend as much money as we spent on those deli trays at Epic. Okay, NJ, you're on with Jacqueline Saturn, a true professional when it comes to matters of radio promotion. You had a question. You put out a single on your album. You've got a new single coming out, and you're looking for some help and advice on radio promotion. Talk to Jackie here.
Actually, my question would be, what should I look for to a radio promoter in the United States?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, a video promoter?
A radio promoter?
Okay, well...
Independent promotion person.
I mean, I think that sometimes in the beginning, you want to have somebody that, hears the song and reaches out, or you have a conversation and they kind of understand what the song's about, a little bit about you. Because people that are going to promote your music are really an extension of you, I like to say, because they have to sell it. So you want to have a good relationship with them. Does that make sense?
Right. And also, should you concentrate on a secondary market, or you should go for a top 40 CHR market?
She's done her homework, hasn't she? Huh?
I mean, I really, listen, every market is important, and that's one of the things you learn. It doesn't matter if it's, the station in New York or if it's in Mobile, Alabama. You can break a record, a song through any market that there is once there's a story. I mean, I think it's nice sometimes to start with the smaller markets to like develop and build a story. And also sometimes you might just have somebody who, might fall in love and they want to partner with you to be the first station to break it. And sometimes they have a little bit more, access to do that.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Great. And
Well, thank you.
But I think that, listen, one thing is like just be passionate about what you do and really believe that you can do it because you can.
Right.
And if you start there, I think you can find the right person to, help you.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Well, I can assure you that NJ, who Cody and I spent an hour with, is fired up. She does her homework.
Yeah.
She's enthusiastic
I
as
can
hell.
tell.
And I don't know what it is about Renman MB. We've attracted more than our fair share of Canadians from Montreal. I swear to God, I feel like I've met everybody in the music business in Montreal through this web show. And it's nice meeting NJ as well. Well, NJ, I want to thank you for calling on. I want to thank you for all your support. I'm going to wish you the best of luck on your new album. And,
Thank you.
And I admire your ability to go beyond dreaming and to get right to the ugly part doing. So keep up the good work. Look,
Thank you so much, Trent.
She's still smiling,
I love
Jacq.
the bangs. And also, if you have any questions, you can always email me through Steve or through the website.
There
I'm
you
happy
have
to
it.
help.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Thanks a lot, NJ. Okay. James I'm always early is over there in the corner. There's always something happening here, Jacq, at Renman MB, and we've got tons of ways to stay plugged in. James's mom is watching today, so I promised him I would keep the F-bombs to a minimum. So I said, I'll bet your mom said, don't you be cussing. And he goes, oh, yeah. So, Mom, early, how am I doing out there? Okay. James, tell the folks how they can keep in touch with us on our social media.
You can follow us on Facebook at Renman MB. You can follow us on Twitter at Renman MB. You can also follow us on YouTube, our page, Renman MB. You can also find us on Instagram at Renman MB.
Jackie was admiring our dogs this morning here. We got plenty of dog shots on our Instagram page. You can't go wrong with the dogs and kids stuff.
They're
It's a
quite
showbiz
gorgeous.
axiom, and it's true. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm sure people are sitting here humoring us while we kibitz a little bit here, but I think most of the people here are interested in knowing about how radio works. And I think that everybody that ever wrote a song, if they're being honest with themselves, didn't write it for them in their room. They wanted it to be heard, and that typically meant on the radio. But how you get on the radio is one of the first reality checks of being in the music business, and is a bit of a mystery for most folks. So we got you here today to take us behind the wizard's curtain, Jacq, and tell us how it goes. First question, I'll lead a little bit here. Band's lucky enough to get signed to a label. They figured out all the stuff that NJ and everybody else is trying to find. They've written a great song. They've gotten video attention. They've done gigs. Now they get signed to a label. And their record gets ready to come out. And what typically happens is it gets turned over to the team, right? And the first thing we start talking about is picking a single, right? I want you to talk about this whole idea of picking the single, who picks it, who has input, what the things you're looking for in a single, because God knows you and I have had lots of discussions over the year about singles. And Jackie won every single one of them, I'm here to tell you.
One of them we did have to pull over on the side of the road to talk to the band to get that decision made.
I have great visions of having to, okay, I'm going to crash. I'm pulling over here. This could go for an hour. Take it away.
I think that, well, first of all, singles, the reason why they're picked is they're supposedly, we like to say like they hit you over the head, they punch you in the face, they have the strongest connection to people that hear it. That's really what is supposed to be about a single. I think when artists make music, like as an album, of course they're all, amazing songs, but they might not all be the song that should be the single for radio. And that's a certain type of sound that, people who listen to the radio a lot or promote people at radio, they might have some insight. For us, in my past experiences, a lot of times the artist certainly has a vision, and that's very important because you want them to, be happy about the decision. There's usually the management side who they might have a decision. And there's definitely the radio promotion people who work the format. So they might have a few go-to radio stations that they have a great relationship that they might want to play it for in advance, or not, or just know that they're making the right decision. And then, basically everyone has to come together at that final moment and say, this is it.
Yeah, and that's always a very tricky spot. When you're dealing with labels, we've talked a lot, from my perspective, as somebody that worked at a label, but also as somebody who worked the label, right? And that can be a tricky business. But once you're in, the most important thing is that debate ceases.
Yeah, and
this is our call, and now we've got to make it happen.
Now you've got that plan, and it is go time.
Let me ask you another question. Not every single is obvious at first. Not every single catches on at first. When I think back to Incubus, I was reminiscing the other day about Pardon Me was their first big hit, but it wasn't working.
And number 28.
And you had to take a different tactic. Talk about the little sidestep that ultimately provided the right timing and lighting for that single to happen, because the story is told, that's one single, it's happened a million times.
Yeah, I think that, there's always a time when you're working a record, there's usually like peaks and valleys, and sometimes it can grow, but they don't just always go straight up. They never do. A few do, obviously. There's been some great stories recently, but mostly, they take some work, and people in radio, they want to see some signs. They want to see that the song's reacting with the listeners. They want to see that it's selling. They want to feel like it's one of those songs that is making a difference on the station. We had a situation with Pardon Me that we all knew in our hearts, same feeling, going to sleep at night, waking up in the morning, that this song was going to go all the way. But it took a really serious hiccup. And I remember
almost out of it there for a while.
Yeah. I remember having an extremely passionate conversation with the program director, his name might be Kevin Weatherly, and saying, we are seeing all the signs, you're not seeing them yet. I'm asking you for 2 more weeks. I'm asking you to really consider this. These are the things we have lined up, and they really loved the band, and they said, okay. And at that time, the record took off.
Yeah.
And it was sometimes being able to have that hard conversation instead of letting things, we could have just said, okay, and not gone to the well and had the fight, but we believed. And that's one of the most important things. Yeah. You have to believe that it can go all the way.
We talk about that all the time, that, when you're dreaming, it's always perfect, right? Otherwise it'd be a freaking nightmare, right? But the doing gets dirty and ugly, and it tests your commitment on so many levels, because, when you're not getting the signs back, and you've got a boss or another record that's showing, or the money's running out, or all these other extraneous factors coming in, you had better be freaking committed out there, folks, because you never know how close you are to something great happening. Today's world, in the alternative space, that band Congos, right? They were one of the first bands that ever signed up on our website. And I heard that song years ago. Nicole Alvarez is in here on the show and played that song. She picked it out of all the people that have submitted songs on our site. 2 years later, it became hit. I noticed it's in the top 40 now, right?
Great songs don't die. They are there.
Lumineers took, a year for it to happen?
Over a year.
So the bottom line, folks, is we talk about this notion of timing and lighting. And sometimes when it's not working initially, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It might not be time for it.
There might just need to be more things happening. And, one of the things, you mentioned something, and I was thinking about my situation now at Harvest Records, because a lot of the artists that we sign are brand new, baby bands, or however you want to use that expression. But one of the first things that we did with one of the bands together, Pangea, who's an incredible band, and they're from the LA area, is immediately engage them in the locals only programs on both K-Rock and 98.7, which they hadn't been a part of. They had some fans, but that is really important to focus on your local market sometimes in starting, because you really can get a story, and you can get fans, and you need it. It's your home.
Yeah. We talk about this in the context of touring a lot. People want to go and become a national touring act, but I have to remind them that, that's step 25 down the road. Owning your backyard gets you an invite to somebody else's backyard, to somebody else's big backyard, to now the playground, and ultimately the big venues out there of the world. And
it's very
paying
important.
The dues is how you do that. We'll talk a little bit later about this whole idea of, everybody thinks the radio promotion people do all the work. For all you artists out there that ever sat there and thought, well, I did my job. You ever heard that before, Jacq? We won't
There's a
mention
lot.
names, but we know. It's not true that you've got to be involved in it as well. I want to talk about something else. You mentioned how these formats play out, and there's all kinds of different formats. There's rock, there's alternative, there's adult contemporary, there's rhythm, and you know them all, right? Yeah. It seems to me today, more so than ever, that you need to have success at pop radio to really move the needle. Is that your experience? I mean, with alternative radios, less people listening, more ways to listen to radio?
No, I mean, first of all, I think that alternative radio is, has seen an exciting amount of growth with the new stations, and you're seeing bands that are, having massive success. Arctic Monkeys this year with their, #1 song and their huge touring business and their growth in the U.S. market after, maybe the last record not as successful, do amazing things only, through that format. And then, on the other side, you have, a top 40 radio where, Ariana Grande has, had a #1 record, and she launched another record, and, they'll have an album launch, and looks to be like an extremely, amazing career. We have another artist at the Capitol Music Group, Sam Smith, unknown artist, who has been developing and now, massive success at Top 40, Hot AC, and these are different formats of radio that are creating this success.
Yeah, and they all kind of speak to that issue of having success at one level gets you an invite to the next level, gets you an invite to the next level, because a great song transcends format. It just becomes a big hit song, whether it's rock, pop, whatever.
Well, I think also, a lot of things are about the market. And if you have a song that is huge in the market, in, let's say, in the LA market, on the alternative side, and there's a lot of sales and excitement, and you see those signs. Well, then the stations across the street, the top 40 stations and the Hot AC stations, or even, the rhythm station, they might want to take a piece of that. So, you're seeing all kinds of things, whether it was Lorde, who crossed over to all the formats, starting from alternative. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, it's funny in the music business, I'll wear a little of my cynicism. Everybody wants to be a wolf that sits at the top of the hill howling and seeing it. But the truth is, most of the people in the music business are sheep, and so they will go with the flow here. So if you get a couple of those wolves, the key station, wherever it might be, you might attract a few sheep, and all of a sudden then you got a whole big party happening there. Let's talk about something on a more practical level, right? How you present music to radio. This is a question I get asked all the time. How should I present my music to radio? We had a question from one of our members here. If you put it up there, Code, if you would.
Do you remember which one?
It was, oh God, now you're making me think here.
Let's check this one.
Oh, there you go.
Hi, Steve and Jacq.
That is the one. It says, "Hi, Steve and Jacq. I'm an independent solo artist. Would love to get my music played on the radio. Duh. Is it best to start with some kind of digital distribution package and try to get some play on internet radio like Pandora? Is it worth my time tracking down programmers or DJs at commercial radio station? What's the best way to approach them?" And then the part I love that. How about just showing up at the station with a CD and a guitar in hand? Thoughts, Jacq?
I like showing up at the station.
I like showing up with a gun.
Right. I mean, listen, I think that personalized things from you are always beneficial. Notes, a little bit about yourself, giving it to, maybe there's somebody that you hear on the radio that you're a fan of. You like, you listen to them on the radio, a DJ. Starting with sort of the most personal levels is a really good way to start, because Steve, we said it, and we said it over and over, it's a personal business. There's relationships
make
involved.
It personal.
And there's no right or wrong answer. All of those ideas are good. And they've all, show that you're passionate about what you do and that you believe in the music. I think that one of the things, sometimes if you feel like you want to deliver your music, like maybe there's like a sampler of your best songs that would give somebody a taste of what your music is, as opposed to, 12 songs. Like sometimes I'm always like, let's give it a little taste. Less is sometimes more. just to, start the process.
Yeah, well, we put a little link on our event page there, folks. There's some links to our friend Lisa Worden, who talked about that from a radio programmer's point of view. You're pitching her; she's the one getting pitched. She had the same mentality, folks.
Not so.
Direct me a little bit. You can send me your whole album, but tell me the 2 songs that I should listen to. And also, from my perspective as a manager, always gave me a sense of where the band thought their commercial potential was, and that was important for me, if for no other reason than I was identifying where we weren't going to have arguments and so forth. So
right, because I always think about that, because sometimes artists might think, well, this should be the single because this sounds like the most thing, or this sounds like the most that's going on at radio. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't sound like you. What sounds like you? That's the song you need.
Yeah, no, it's funny. We talked about that a lot. I did a thing up in Seattle. We were talking about this big picture concepts, and I kind of, somebody had, again, early in my career talked about this, your compass and finding your true north. Well, you got to ultimately do stuff that's who you really are, or it starts to show, right? And so good advice there. Let me ask you this now. Most of these indie folks don't have the benefit of the resources, the infrastructure, and the experience that comes with a big label. Talk about how a major label promotion staff is organized, because those are the people that are actually going to go make that pitch to the radio programmers around the country. Talk about that.
Well, most major labels have a promotion staff that has anywhere from 7 to 10 regionals, and they're based out of the major markets. So there would be somebody in New York and someone in LA and San Francisco, probably Seattle, Dallas, Chicago, Boston, sometimes Miami, and they cover certain regions so that your music is being presented locally by someone who supports it. And then, as well as having the local representatives, there's a national tier. So there would be a format head who can direct traffic, kind of give advice, strategize with them how it's going to be laid out. And then there's like a big boss. So the one person who's the head of everything, so everything can come together. So there's a lot of people.
So you're the manager of the promotion effort, and you have, like any touring band might have, you'd have your captains, production, tour manager, so forth and so on. Let me ask you this, another question that comes up all the time. What format should I deliver my music in? For years it was, you gave them the little single, the 45, then it was CD Pro, which is the single that we made up special.
Right.
Today, digital, some combination of. How do you guys submit most of your music at the starting of the conversation phase?
A lot of people, listen, I always try to make it personal, and I ask how they want the music. That's the first question. How would you like it? Would you like a link to hear it? Would you like, a lot of radio stations still say, can I also have it on CD? That's fine. I don't judge. You just want to get it to where the way that they're going to hear it is the way you want to deliver it.
Yeah. I think that's again another thing that I used to think about. I think it's good advice. If people are willing to be involved with your music, I say give it any way you want it. Just help me out, get involved, do it. Remember that lame Jersey song? Any way you want it.
You do it.
I mean, listen, that should have been our theme song.
We do a lot of things at Harvest. We're a smaller label. And we do a lot of things digitally. And I've been to see some of my friends at radio where, I was just like, can I plug in my iPod? And, to be honest, they didn't have a plug. Yeah. And they were like, do you have it on CD? And I didn't. And I'm like, I remember being like, oof, not a really good start to the meeting. But, that's the thing. You make mistakes and then you learn. Like, everyone's got the way they want to listen to it. I would just make sure that you're prepared for your meeting, or any way that you're going to give something is ask the questions.
Yeah, do your homework. Do a little personal recon on folks. It's funny, I will say this. I find that I've talked to a bunch of radio folks, and they tend to be horribly old school. They like to go with the CD. Kids want to hand me CDs out there, folks. I don't need them anymore. But I would tell them, dude, how about, I'm not putting that out, I'm going to lose it. By the way, I'm looking to see what you think are your best two, okay? Right. And so forth. Let me ask you another question here. We got actually a question from one of our members about what it cost to actually play with the big team up there in the majors. Can we post that one up there, Code? Okay, it says...
Can you read?
This is by a gentleman from Amsterdam. Okay, it's an international crowd here, Jacq. He says, "Hi, Jacq.
We love Amsterdam.
My youngest son is going to be going to Amsterdam. I gave him some
tips,
some local knowledge from a father. And so, if you happen to be watching, Evan, All right. Hi, Jacq. Well, I've heard lots of stories about labels trying to break new artists by investing lots of promotional money to get airplay in the U.S. for the songs. I know the song must be great, but the figures I've heard on breaking a new track artist on the radio go up to $250,000. If that's the case, it'd be almost impossible to get an unknown artist on the radio without. Here's my question. Could you give us a better insight on how this system works, rates, companies? Is it realistic to think you can get an unknown artist who made it big on social media to radio without such an investment?
Absolutely. First of all, I don't know that number to be true. I think, one of the things that is important to say is money doesn't get you airplay. Mm-hmm. Somebody might say, I have a huge budget, but that's not going to, and I'm going to hire all these people. That's not guaranteeing airplay. Mm-hmm. So it's better, to really start smaller, and build a story. And, for things like we have, for instance, at Harvest Records, some artists where maybe there is one consultant who's just starting to talk about the music and just start to lay a foundation, since we don't have the whole big, huge team at this point. And that way you can start to, use your money wisely, have one champion to start promoting the record. Then you might see a couple of signs and want to put someone else on there. I don't think it's about the huge budget to start, because it's about really having a plan, and also having people that you actually talk to, or independent promotion people who understand what the vision is.
Yeah, I think it's a good advice. And while I think on some of the big pop records you might get to 250, the days of maybe rolling 250 out of the box to Donnie Ienner, we're going for this thing, may be done. But I think it speaks to the bigger picture of you got to build some little wins. If you keep focusing on the little wins and keep building, all of a sudden you got a stack of wins that looks like you're ready to go into a bigger battle, and in fact you are. But having a plan and getting some early supporters on your team and getting some realistic signs. This is what some artists have a difficult time with. You're getting signs all the time in the music business, aren't you, Jacq? Some are good, some of them aren't.
No, I always talk about, we worked with the band The Script on one of their singles, and the first sign was a station, WABB, and they got the first early research. They were one of the first stations. I remember we were like, oh my God, it's number 2 in their research. That was the first sign. And that's we were galvanized by it, because we were like, yes, there's one.
Yeah, and like that shark who bit that guy out in Santa Monica Bay, record folks, managers, everybody, they're looking for a little blood in the water to attract some more attention, because that's how you build something. But you got to be looking for the feedback, right? When some kid calls me up and says, hey, I'm keep playing shows in my home market and I'm not really growing, I as gently as I can, I say, well, you need to take a look in the mirror, man. Okay, you might have a great product, lousy distribution, lousy promotion, but if you fix distribution and promotion, it might just be lousy product. Work on your product. So speaking of lessons learned here, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm starting to take this whole kind of music mentoring, your wacky, wild Uncle Ernie in the music business a little bit more seriously. And what I found is that there's so many people out there that are thirsting about doing something great in the music business, whether it's as an artist or a professional. They're looking for some ways to learn. Last October, I did a workshop for this website called Creative Live up in San Francisco. They do live webcasts with experts. Started in the photography area, now they're doing music. We did one on networking, was the first one I did, and I went back last week and did another one on breaking into the music business. So for all you folks that are out there that are contemplating trying to learn more about the music business, and you're thinking about having your old man write a check for $50,000 to some of those fine universities across America, I'm going to say, why don't you start with both of these? Each of those I think are 29 or 39 bucks. Okay, and you can figure out whether you really want to be in the music business or not. That was kind of a shameless plug. That was
but that's true. $30 versus 50.
$30, please.
Well,
Jacq,
I think that $30 is important to say, but also you get to ask questions and get them answered.
Well, that one's just you get to watch 7 hours.
Yeah, but you still are available on the
there
website.
There were people asking questions in it. It's good stuff there, and honest to God, not just because I was on, but they have a great crowd, and actually inspired our whole Renman U thing. When I came back from there, I thought, wow, this is, we get 5 kids in there, I'll play professor. It was a lot of fun. But also some great stuff we covered there. So if you're looking for a little inspiration on doing something big in the music business, take a look at those Creative Live courses there. And also, Cody Romness has been bleeding all this information out of my head, Jacq, and trying to put it into a course curriculum. How are we doing on our interactive course there, Trojan Man?
It is coming along slowly, And surely.
The slow part is mostly because of who?
I won't mention any names.
All right, well, we'll keep you posted on that for all you folks that are out there learning. Okay, we're going to take another member question.
Well, I like it.
Reminisce a little bit here.
Oh, man.
Pop that one up there. Some gentleman from Belgium. What an international
This is
crowd.
incredible.
This is the
It's a
I got
World
an
Wide
email
Web.
from a kid
I love
from
it.
East Africa that wanted to be a manager. We got it all happening. He said, how much being, is that the right one? No, that's the wrong one, Cud. That's an American dude. Well,
Where's the Belgian dude?
I'll just read it, okay? It was a gentleman from, his name, I forgot his name. Anyway, he was from Belgium. He says, is it possible to break in the U.S. for a Belgian band? I hope I can learn something in this perspective from the live show tomorrow. I hope so, too. My release date goes on. So the question is,
Can you be from
can
another?
you be from another country? And what's the ideal moment to promote the new album, get on the radio?
Well, you can absolutely be from another
Think of a
country
band
to
from
be.
Belgium that you worked, Jackie.
Wait, who?
At Epic Records. Two Wiki? Hooverphonic.
Oh yeah, shoot, they were from. They
They
were.
were freaking awesome. One of
Wait,
the
and Hooverphonic, and I think we broke them more in the U.S.
Yes, Jackie's had so many acts she broke.
man,
I
I
mentioned
forgot.
that she can't even remember them.
I
okay?
love. No. I actually just told a story about
Great
when they
band from
came
Belgium.
to New York. Remember the New Music Seminar, and they played at the Roseland, and we had to set up the whole thing. They had a whole show. They were amazing.
Yeah.
We had, and that was a song that somebody played first. There was, it was either K-Rock or Live 105. Somebody played it. Maybe not. I feel like one
I
of
don't
them.
know if it was K-Rock.
It was like one of the other ones who played it first, and then people started taking notice of it, and that's when we kind of jumped on and started working it and brought them here. So it didn't really matter where they were from.
Yeah, I think that's the point. It doesn't really matter if you have great songs, and they obviously sang in English, which is a big plus.
Oh my
here.
God, wicked.
But I remember that there was one of those records that everybody on the staff goes, "Have you heard the Hooverphonic? Have you heard the Hooverphonic?" And that's feedback. That's how viral. Before they called it viral, that was called getting a buzz. That was just people were responding and telling their buddies. And I was telling Cody here yesterday, that's one of my favorite records. I played it 1,000 times over the last 20 years. So I think the answer to your question is yes. You need to have somebody here that builds a plan, though, right?
Absolutely. And listen, you might be the best one to help with the vision on that plan, but certainly we've seen, artists from other countries break massively here. So that shouldn't be any barrier to what goes on with your success.
Yeah. So you'll need to put that team together here. It's not easy, but if you got great music, I tell everybody, they all get all wacky about what the music is. I said, music is great songs, great performances, right?
Yeah, but also I think what you said before, like sometimes there is somebody who just like you, like just that one person that believes in what you're doing too, to sort of start the process.
Yeah, no, that's key. You got to get it started. All right, another question from a member here. By the way, folks, I'm going to admonish all you people watching out there, not one call on the hotline, okay? I got rid of those fine shirts here. Not one call on the hotline. I'll even give you I got the juice. By Chance the Rapper. Is this a great shirt or what?
That's great.
My wife said, "Oh, wear that one. It's so cute." Chance, we've never met, but dude, you and I would get along just great. On to more.
Maybe he should be on the show.
Chance, are you out there? Chance the Rapper, okay? You know what? I know you think you invented weed. You're wrong. Come to California, we'll discuss it, okay? Cody's giving you right there. Call us on the hotline, Chance. We have a question from our member, Joel Rowland, the one that you erroneously threw up there earlier, Code. It's about indie versus major labels. You have that one there from Mr. Rowland?
Yep, we sure do.
How good is Cody over there?
I love it.
He's a football player, Yeah, from USC.
Wow.
Actually got a music industry degree.
Man, you can
Did
do
you
anything
ever bring that
now.
in? I asked you to bring that in.
Yeah,
just
we
to
want to
verify.
see the diploma.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever actually picked it up.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, I went to USC and didn't actually finish, okay? So Cody did better than me. Anyway, here's this question. Put it up there. I'll stop babbling. How much does being signed to a major label affect the decision process for a program director? Do they consider the fact that signed bands typically have more resources to handle the increases in record and ticket sales? Or do they only focus on playing great music and leave it to the industry professionals to fill in the gaps? Jacq?
Yeah, I don't think that has any barrier to your music getting played on the radio.
If it's great.
Yeah, if it's great, they're going to find the best songs for their station. And they certainly, listen to the major label music, the major label singles and the independent label singles. Like, it doesn't affect, and you see both, artists from both different types of labels getting on the radio. So that's definitely not how they pick their music.
But I think no matter whether you're an indie artist, or an independent label, I suppose, or a major label, you got to get that reaction. And then when it starts to go, you do have to spend a little money. But typically, if you're having success, it's called financing. That kind of finances the process.
Yes.
And in the best example was Lumineers. People talk a lot about Macklemore and Lewis being an independent label, but they had a lot of support from the major system when they needed it here. So,
but that was when they deemed it was necessary.
Yeah,
that's,
they did the building,
and
got
then
it to that level, and bang.
Warner Brothers knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. So okay, great. We talked.
We got a couple questions from the chat.
Okay, fire away. James, speaking to the microphone, sir.
All right, it's from Finger Uka. I hope I said that right. But,
Finger Uka. If you didn't, they're pissed at you, not me.
Yeah, Finger Hookah or Uka.
Like ukulele.
Finger Uka.
Oh, there's
we have a.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take yours, and then we can go on the phone.
He says, I'm currently, from New York, but I have a big following on the West Coast, Hawaii, and Asia. Should I focus on getting into local airplay market in his market, or should I focus on getting to airplay in the larger markets where you have a larger following?
But
He's from New York. He's getting some action
I would
in
go
other
on
markets.
I would focus on those markets where there's already a little bit of a buzz going on.
Yeah, focus.
Build on it.
If you're being invited to the party,
go to the party.
Right? Why get bummed out in New York? Even you moved out of New York.
Yeah, I couldn't. I got out.
And he also goes on to say is how big should his following be before somebody seeks airplay?
I mean, that's really, there's no number that can dictate that of what people are looking for. Like, that's just more about people deciding if they want to play the song.
I sit there and think that's a tough answer, but you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Right? You'll feel it is what will happen, okay? Do you have that person hung up on us, Code?
No, he's just patched him into the old broadcast here.
Okay, what's his name?
His name is Tyler. Let's see if we got him on the phone.
Tyler. Well, I thought you were going to say Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, I was so excited.
Chance!
What's up, Chance?
All right, Tyler, you're on with the Queen of Rock.
Hi,
Tyler. Turn down your thing so you're not feeding back. You're on with the Queen of Rock. Ask your question of the Queen.
Hi, Tyler.
Tyler. Where are you from, Tyler?
Hi, so I'm from Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia,
Okay.
I'm familiar with Pennsylvania.
and I'm calling from Flexington Records. I'm an intern at a record label.
Oh, great.
And I was just wondering, we do a lot of independent, we do a lot of promo, just like kind of calling stations, keeping lists of stations, and I want to know when we talk to them and say, hey, we're going to keep your song on file, do they actually keep it on a list? I want to know like how program directors keep songs, like how they keep it in mind. Because we get a lot of answers where it's like, we'll keep it on file, and then like they entirely forget about it.
Well, all right. I mean, yeah, that's interesting because I don't think there's any one way. Like, I do think that people, definitely get the music, and then they might have a certain day where they'll like listen to everything. And sometimes you might have to find a way that's a little creative to get them to, especially once you get them on the phone. Are they saying, and have you already sent it to them? Do they have it? Are you asking them, like, what are you asking them?
So a lot of program directors will like ask them to listen to the song, and we'll send it through MP3 and ask them to like help us build the buzz and see what we can do about getting it played locally and like just on their new music shows and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
We get a lot of answers. We get a lot of answers where they tell us to call back, and we call back and just like, I don't know, keep calling them back like maybe once a week, every 2 weeks or so, and they like entirely forget about us every time. It's like a startup conversation every single time. So it's like,
dude, that don't.
Just wondering.
I would call every day. You don't need to wait a week. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, I just always feel like, what are you, is there, are you focusing on, like, there's a local show that you're trying to get airplay on? Is that what you're calling about mostly?
So yeah, for most cases, it's local radio and like small like mom and pop radio, I guess, that we're trying to get onto, and we I don't know, we call them quite a bit, but it's just trying to get their attention. Like,
Yeah.
what's the best way of getting their attention?
Hey, Tyler, I'm going to give you some advice, man. Jackie will agree on this. You know, you're going to get a lot of no's in this business, aren't you,
tons.
Jackie? My experience is you only need a couple great yeses,
Just
man,
one,
to
and
free the beast, okay? So stop counting the no's, look for those yeses, man. And by the way, expect that most people are going to tell you, no, this business is tough. Do it again, Code. Oh, there you go. This business is tough, Tyler. And, you know, if that scares you, then you should go sell life insurance, okay? But you know what? Just focus on getting that yes, man.
Right. Really, you can do it.
And by the way, I love the fact that you want to be a radio promotion dude. It's just a certain swashbuckling, I don't give a fuck attitude, which will serve you well in the music business.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, Tyler, what do you want? A Dream It, Do It shirt or fuck the gatekeepers?
Give me a fuck the gatekeeper.
Yeah. I knew he was going to say
he's a
that. I
promotion
knew
dude.
it.
Okay, there you go.
Tyler, you got to take a picture wearing the shirt.
Cody or Jay, and then you have to
Send it in.
put it on social media.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Send an email to Cody@renmanagement.com with your info, and we'll get that shirt off to you. Thanks for calling in, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
You bold man.
All right, thanks for the advice.
He
Thanks
went for it.
A promo dude
I
called
like it.
up. Okay?
And he picked the right shirt.
Jesus, if you're a band out there, you want Tyler on your team because he is not going to be shy about it. Jackie does most of the work. Artists make music. They've done their job. But the fact of the matter is making the music is kind of the fun part for artists. And I always say that the decisions and the effort you make after you make the music could have as much or more impact on the success as the music itself. So artists need to be part of the mix. And God knows we had countless discussions over the years on whether my friends in Incubus were participating enough in the process. We have a question from one of our members. His name is Tomer Aron from Tel Aviv in Israel today. Huh? Is this like
perfect.
international? His English isn't so good, so I'm going to put this into a simple form, which is how important are interviews on radio stations for promoting your music, and can you give some advice on doing them? Thanks. And that's Tomer Aron from Tel Aviv.
Wow, I like it. I mean, most of the time when you're doing an interview on a radio station, it's because they like the music, so that's a good start. And it's a perfect opportunity to sort of, say exactly, your mission statement or what your music's about or what the band's about. And, I always feel like there should be one soundbite that people can take away that gives a better reference to what the music is.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I would also offer something there. I don't know if you're in a band or not, but when you're going in to do radio interviews, the less voices, I think, the better. Jackie, she's nodding here.
There might be 5 people in a band, but there really needs to be a spokesperson.
Yes.
Or even 2 people, because it just gets too chaotic.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's not helpful for the listeners. The listeners need to walk away like, oh, we got to know the band and we know what the music's about.
I'll offer one other bit of advice based on our experience. If you're an artist, it's okay to be talking about your record that's for sale. It's okay to be talking about the tour date you got coming up. There's nothing tawdry or weird about that. This is what you do for a living. So make sure you have your talking points together. God knows I handed 1 million cards to my friend in Incubus. Make sure you mention this, 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 and this. And they were terrific promoters. Didn't do it quite as often as Jackie would like, but when they showed up, they were awful good.
Yeah.
Okay? And that...
Renman, I'm sorry, we have another phone question.
Oh.
No way! No way. Where are they calling from, Code? Who is it?
We didn't get it, but let's pipe them in right now.
We're just taking calls.
see, I like it.
Who do we
is
have
it?
on the phone with us today?
Hey, Steve. Hey, Jacqueline. This is Jerry Lembo calling.
Hey, Jerry, how are you?
Jerry Lembo, music professional. How you doing, man?
Enjoying the conversation, loving the conversation today. And I just wanted to offer a bit of advice to some of the independent artists or bands. And Jacqueline, hopefully you'll reinforce. I think it's good for them to get to know the local radio reps from the various labels, be it Columbia, Epic, Republic, RCA, Capitol, Interscope, Warner Brothers, etc., because they're a valuable resource of information and contacts. And so I would pass on the music to them as well and try to enlist their support. not only on the radio side, but if they really like it, perhaps they could even walk it into the label and help you make some strides on potentially getting a deal.
Great advice, Jerry.
I'm glad you called in, Jerry. And it's funny because we get people all the time that ask me, man, should I talk to this person? Should I talk to this person? And I tell them all. I said, are you kidding me,
talk
man?
to everyone.
You're nowhere. Talk to anybody that'll talk to you, for Christ's sake. And when people are trying to get signed to labels, they want to believe in some magic wand. But the truth of the matter is labels, folks, and you'll agree with this, Jerry, typically go on a trusted source basis, and that trusted source could be anybody they believe to have credibility in the music business, right? So that's wonderful advice there, Jerry. And for all you folks that are out there watching, take heed, write that down, okay? Go meet people. They might be able to help you. Jackie talked about that right at the top.
But you also, people in the business love music. So I don't care what label something's on that I love. Like, I send... I might Instagram, like I love the Sia single. I put up an Instagram, like I'm obsessed. And then there was all these people and it's like, yeah, because I love the music. Is it on my label? No. Is it like anything that I work with? No, but I love it. So some people are just mouthpieces also in the business because they love, just like Jerry said, they want to know about things first, or they might think it's great and they might mention it to someone you never know.
Yeah, I think it gets lost sometimes when you talk about music professionals. Everybody thinks they're just a bunch of bankers. But the truth of the matter is, while we all have been in the business and the business edge puts something different on it, I'm here to tell you that most of the people that are in the music business are freaking music lovers to the freaking core. And that's what gets them up in the morning and helps them wade through. I got this little poop bag here this morning, right? I was taking my dog out this morning, Jacq. And so I get these strange thoughts as I'm down there with my 3 bags. I'm now walking 2 dogs. You met one of them. And I just sat there and thought, man, they should hand these out in the music business, have your poop bag, because you're shoveling shit all day long, folks, and you got to love it. Get your shovel in the ground. Boy, okay, we'll scratch that. Okay. Jerry, thanks for calling in, my friend.
Thanks, Jerry. Good to hear your voice.
Let's do it again. Oh, he's out. Jerry already left us. Jacq, another question here. How are we doing on time? Is Barnett going to be calling us soon? Another 10 minutes?
Yeah, he's going to be like, where is she?
Okay, tell him he should have come here with us and supported the team here. Sorry, Barnett. I know he's probably not watching. For years, I want to talk about this changing face of radio, right? For years, getting your music heard on the radio is kind of tried and true. You put a single out, you took it to radio, it might get played on a TV show or so forth, but it was pretty tried and true how it's going. Today, there's all kinds of opportunities, Spotify, YouTube, Beats Music, Pandora, I'll forget some of them, but there are all kinds of satellite radio, which I listen to a lot. One of our members here, a gentleman by the name of KJ, hard to say, I always spell their names wrong, but he's probably another guy from outside America, which I love, dialing in and networking with his new friend, Jacqueline Saturn. He says, seeing where music is going today, more and more people hang out with Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, radio, and other technology like it. Is it even worth trying to get music heard on the radio?
Yes, it's always worth. I mean, all those things are important. And, that's the exciting thing about the music business today, I think, is that, music is growing. Like, people want to hear music, and there's a way that you can get your music to the right people. But, everything is part of that plan. And radio is just as important as ever. In the mix with those other things.
Yes, I think you do have other things in the mix, which is nice. TV shows, commercial opportunities, TV commercials. I'm thinking of Group Love and Young the Giant and Phoenix, bands that arguably those things help get them out there ahead of the game. We had another question from, we have our friends over at Music Connection who have been kind enough to promote our fine little web show here. They've been informing music people since 1977. I don't feel so freaking old. They asked, one of their viewers or readers, Joshua McLean, had a simple question for you, Jacq. Is payola still alive?
I mean, it's illegal, so there's that. Listen, I have to just say, like, my experience right now, just being at Harvest Records, where we're really developing artists, that's the real notion of breaking an act. And, even in a situation right now, we have a band, Glass Animals, that, has been on the Spotify viral chart for, 12 weeks in like the top 20. We're seeing people talk about it. KCRW played it, and then it got played at Sirius XMU and a station KRBZ in Kansas City and into Alt Nation. This is all just because of the music. So, at the end of the day, remember, like, good music can travel, and it just took one little story to engage. And I think now this record is really going to go all the way, but it certainly had nothing to do with money.
Yeah. Money helps, but as I say all the time, money may want an opinion, but it doesn't have brains, it doesn't have a conscience, it doesn't know where to go. It's people.
Yeah. And the music's got to get under people's skin.
You've got to drive it under. We also had a question from one of our members, Mr. Drew Barbas from Minneapolis. He's one of our biggest supporters. So, Drew, I think we've covered some of the things you talked about, so I'm going to skip ahead because Jackie's giving me that look, which is I got to get on the call. I got managers calling me here today. Let's talk a little bit about Harvest Record. For years, you started as a little Nashville girl, went to the big city, New York City, and now you've moved out to California. You spent 20 years working. I know you started a small label, then you spent, 20 years at Epic?
Just about.
Was it 20? Fucking hard to believe. With one of the big dogs in the music business. Now you're with Harvest Record. You've moved west. Talk about your new gig and the bands you're working on and what inspired you, other than this fine weather, to move out west with us, Jackie.
Well, first of all, the chairman of the Capitol Music Group, a friend of both of ours, Steve Barnett,
Epic alumni.
He had, Epic alumni,
Columbia,
and then
too.
Columbia. He, went and came to me with the idea of, sort of building Harvest Records, which was a label, back in the day.
Wasn't Pink Floyd on Harvest back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, small band.
And, one of the things that Steve and I had done when he was at Epic was, really it was about artist development and starting with bands from the beginning and building them and having, being able to be a part of that story. And that was something that, after years of being at Epic, I certainly missed in some of those situations. And when there was an opportunity to really find, have a vision, sign some artists, start at the very beginning, create the plans, not have so many rules, I was really excited about it because, like most people, I love music and I want to be able to work with, not just whatever type of artist is one way, all different type of artists.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to come to Harvest. One of my, dear friends who was also at Epic, Piero Giramonti, had already started. So we got to,
Can you say
become
his name
partners.
again? I love hearing his name.
Piero Giramonti.
Fine coffee.
yeah.
Would he still have his little
Dude, he has
cappuccino?
doctor's orders, only 4 espressos a day. But he's amazing and he loves music. And we're both passionate about the artists that we work with. We're really excited about what's going on. And, I'd mentioned Glass Animals that, have this story going on. But, we have this artist, Banks, that we just have been building this unbelievable story with her. And this is all pre-radio, but we're getting ready for some exciting things to launch into her September 9th album. She was in Paris today.
I was talking to my buddy Mark Geiger. I said, "What are you doing in Paris?" He goes, "I'm here to see Banks." And then I thought, I have Jacqueline Saturn on the show.
I mean, I'm so proud of her, and she's working really hard. But another artist who's very true to what she believes in and how her music is promoted and what her vision is, and we're very in tune with that and respectful. And, she's unbelievable, so certainly proud of her. We also have Morrissey, the legend and iconic man that he is, whose album's coming out July 15th. It's called World Peace Is None of Your Business. Just a little Harvest plug.
One of the great titles of all
it
time.
just got an unbelievable review in NME. It's definitely one of his best. So that's
Iconic.
been an interesting situation.
He's
to
an
work
interesting character. I know you have to be played, but tremendous artist.
Yeah,
and
tremendous.
When I first started in the business, one of the first acts I booked at Hollywood Palladium was the Smiths.
Oh, wow.
And that's a story for a different
with. Yeah.
day here.
Well, he's going to be part of when I write my book.
Good. Well, I was going to write a book, and then I decided to do it. I couldn't get to Cody. I tried to get a book out of me. It's like impossible. So I thought, hey, let's just do a web show and we'll talk and let everybody else do the writing, okay? Yeah, we have one more phone call there, Code?
We did. Let's see if he's still on.
Okay, you got time for one more call, and then we'll wrap it up here. How are we doing today, Jacq?
It's great.
I would rate you a 10 as a guest here, okay, so far.
I'm coming back.
She
Cody,
was
did
on
I get a
time,
10?
prepared.
Oh, you got a 10. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we got Deshawn on the line.
Hey, Deshawn.
Deshawn, okay, put Deshawn in.
Hopefully he's there.
If not, we're
Hello?
going to... Deshawn, you there?
Hello, hey.
Hi, Deshawn.
I'm here.
Where are you from, Deshawn?
I'm calling from Pittsburgh, PA.
Oh, we
Love
got the
Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania connection happening. Okay, you're on with the Queen of Rock. Bow to the Queen, and then ask your question, please.
Hello, my queen.
Hello.
I have a question for you. It's funny. I am actually a hip hop artist by the name of Lil D the Prince from Pittsburgh. And my question was, Steve, you talked a little about TV and music licensing a bit ago, and I was wondering if radio was a significant platform to springboard into music licensing, or is it more so the live performances and getting out there and meeting people to get into that field, to get your music into music licensing?
I mean, listen, music licensing is a whole world unto its own, and there's certainly, you know, what I've found, especially from being at Harvest, they love new artists. They're very open to listening, and really it's about the music fitting with what they're looking for. But it's certainly, you know, they are, you know, a definitely viable outlet, and you know, all those things go well together. But it wouldn't be one getting to the other. I mean, if you wanted to be sending your music to some of these places or have it be heard, that's a perfect opportunity to start. Yeah. Because, you know, I have to say, like, I think that the people that are out there, they're so passionate about music, and they're passionate about new music, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting from a manager's perspective. What's your name again, one more time? Sean.
My name is Deshawn.
Deshawn. Is that, you know, I think that these music licensing buyers, right, particularly TV shows, got tired of spending all this money on big acts and listening to big managers bitch about not getting paid.
They want the new stuff.
They want great songs that work in their thing, so it's a great opportunity. You mentioned, is it radio that gets you licensed or licensing to get you radio? It can go both ways. I think of Phoenix, who my first real consciousness of Phoenix, who's a great band, was through a Mercury commercial, right? My kids got it, you know, introduced to Queen from that Viagra commercial. So it's weird how music gets presented today, Deshawn. And the thing for you to take away, and for all the folks watching, it's not a singular punch that knocks somebody out. It's a cumulative effect of getting a million things going on. And then at some point it reaches this critical point where it starts to roll. And that's the job of folks like Jackie as a label person, myself as a manager, is to keep that patient alive until you can get that heartbeat that turns into this, you know, this raging fire. So,
right, and don't be scared to send it out. Get your music out there. Like, they will, especially in some of those, you know, TV shows or television outlets. Like, I think they'll really listen.
Yeah. You're going to get 1,000 no's. Be looking for the yeses, my friend. You only need a couple good ones. So the folks that can stomach through those no's and go, I'm getting closer to that yes, are the ones that are going to win out there. All right, Jackie's got to get back to work. I'm going to get a call from Barnett next going, Rennie, please, you're already
Where
my staff.
Is she?
You know, next week on the show, we're going to be joined by radio personality Chris Carter, who is the host of Breakfast with the Beatles and British Invasion on Sirius XM Radio. But prior to that, he was a musician in his own right. He was the bass player in a band called Dramarama, which was my very first management client, where I made every possible mistake you could make. And he's still my friend. He was also there with me the very first night I saw Incubus at a club, the Crocodile Lounge. And in the famous words of Chris Carter, I said, well, what'd you think, man? He goes, dude, these guys ever get a song, they're going to be dangerous. And goddamn, that singer, he's freaking pretty, you know? So he turned out to be right on both counts. We're going to be talking to him because he's got a wonderful perspective, music lover to the core, has some experience being in a band. We'll probably be talking to some other folks in music tech and another interesting independent artist I wanted you to introduce you to, but I got to call him first. Jackie, before we part company, I want to just say you've been a fine guest. I want to say, do you have any parting advice for artists or professionals that are looking to go from dreaming to doing?
Well, first of all, this has been a real pleasure. I'm really having the best time. But I mean, I think the one theme that we keep saying is, like, you got to believe in yourself, because there's too many experiences to talk about that, you know, people said you'll never get it played. I mean, I can give you like 3 nevers. I think it was Rage Against the Machine, Korn, and, you know, even an artist like Sarah Bareilles, who had a #1 top 40 record. I mean, people are like, we're not going to play this. It happens. There's not one sound. There's not one type of music. There's not a style. There's not a format. Just be great, and that's the best that you can do.
Great advice there. All right, folks. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today. All the folks that called in on the phone, that posted your questions in advance. You've already passed my first test of your will to move to the front of the class. Of course, I want to say thank you to my good friend Jacqueline Saturn. It took me, what, a couple of years to get you on this show?
Yeah, I got here. I wanted to be first, but I didn't make it first.
That wasn't because of me, folks, okay? I want to thank our friends at Music Connection for helping us promote. I want to thanks to my wonderful team of folks here. If you want to do something great, you need some help, and that's certainly the case for me. My name's Steve Rennie. I am the Renman. Our website's called Renman MB, Music and Business. Folks, stop dreaming, start doing. If you're going to do that, get out of here, and we'll see you next Wednesday.